soggy start to the day. Trust me, pouring rain as we drove here. Monica, quickly before we get this thing started, if there are two players to watch on either side of this, who would they be?
Well, from Montgomery College, no question, it's Gabriela Fernandez. She is their leading goal scorer, 13 goals on the year, and she was outstanding against Howard Community College in the semifinals. She had 2 goals and an assist. She really gets this team going on offense. She has a bit of an unorthodox technique, but really works for her, and she's going to have a big game today. And then for Anne Arundel, no question, it's Madeline Stevenson. She was the star against Oxford College of Emory University. She had both goals for the Riverhawks. She's the leading goal scorer, and she's another one that just really has to have a big game today, has to get her teammates going. So those two players on offense, and then obviously defensively, we're going to have to see both teams step up and make some big defensive plays today.
We'll talk plenty more about those two. Stevenson leads for pretty much every single category if you are an Anne Arundel fan. Anne Arundel will be in there, I would assume, road blues with white number. All blue, white shirt, white shorts, white socks, or I should say blue shirt, shorts, and socks, moving left to right. Montgomery in their white uniforms, moving right to left. Montgomery takes the opening kickoff, and then finally regains possession. The Raptors' purple trim and numbers, and they'll move it down to the left-hand side. That is Fernandez, the intended target. We're going to get an early corner kick. Montgomery averaging about 2.5 corners per game this season, and we'll get one early on in this one.
And you see they're already looking for Gabriela Fernandez. That was a beautiful pass. She used a lot of speed to break forward and win this corner kick opportunity. Godoy is going to be taking the corner for Montgomery College. She does a great job on these set pieces.
Oh, that's a good one in the back post. Just misses the intended target, but you're right. Beautiful foot from the corner.
Godoy is another one of those players we're going to be talking a lot about today.
Yeah, 4 goals, 8 assists, 16 points, 35 shots, 22 of them on goal, with 2 game winners to lead the team this season.
And as you said, Dave, she got so much height on that, really trying to set someone up for a header, a good opportunity. Set pieces are going to be very big today to create some opportunities. Yeah. So a really good sign for Montgomery College that they were able to get one so early on. And you're just going to continue seeing them push over to Gabriela Fernandez on this left side.
The intended target on that last corner kick was Argubi, who now picks up the ball to throw it in on the near side here. Intended target is Fernandez, hits Fernandez in the back. Going to have to get used to the wind, which just gusted up a little bit. The turf also a little bit slick, though turf acts a little differently in the rain. I'm amazed sometimes by how much backspin still works on a turf when it's wet, but the turf is wet. That's certainly going to affect the goalies, but it's going to affect those long passes as well. Again, soaking rains for several hours early this morning before this one got underway. We're in a lull. We hope remains for both games today. We also have the men's game coming up at 1 o'clock as a foul will take place. Both teams foul-wise, somewhat even. It's not really a major part of either one of their games. You're certainly going to see a number of calls, but not a ton. Both teams, very few yellow cards on the season.
Right now, Montgomery just doing a nice job trying to possess in the midfield. Now, a lot of these games come down to possession in the midfield. That's going to be a big storyline today in terms of who can control that midfield area. And I think another big storyline is which team does the best job with clearing, makes the fewest mistakes, because when you get to this championship level, it's who makes the fewest mistakes, because in soccer, as we all know, that one mistake can result in the one goal that's the game changer.
Should mention the starters today for Montgomery. We already mentioned that forward, Gabriela Fernandez, the freshman, Maggie Prokop, the freshman midfielder, Lucy Kwanang, the freshman forward, Emily Carpenter at defense, Yasmin Argubi on defense as well, but she'll push up as we've seen already. Gayleen Hirabayashi, the sophomore defender, as they get the ball to the top of the box, and Fernandez goes for a shot. It's blocked, but it's still a score off the rebound, and we have an injury on top of that, but unexpected shot beats the keeper, and we've got an early goal with Fernandez down.
What an opportunity for Montgomery. They had so much good momentum going through the field, and you saw, Dave, that was a lot created by Godoy. She really got that effort going. She has been outstanding early on. Good sign to see Fernandez back up on her feet, because again, we have talked about how critical she is But just a heads-up play by Montgomery, and that's what you expect to see out of a team in a tournament like this. They're not going to give up on any plays, and Montgomery College has really been pushing the issue early on, really looking for their offense, and a very good sign for the Raptors in these early stages. And you see immediately they're pressuring.
Hirabayashi picks up the goal unassisted as it came off the deflection from Fernandez's initial attempt after she got taken down. For Hirabayashi, her 5th goal of the season. Of course, we had stopped with her on the starting lineups, rather appropriate. Her 5th goal in the season, 16th shot on the season. Nicole Godoy, who you mentioned, also in the midfield. Viana Rodriguez, number 15, the freshman forward. Kiera Simpson, the defender, number 16. Number 18, Michaela Topovich in defense. And in the goal, it's Delmi Perez, who has played most of the season there. Both teams have a backup goalie who also plays defense. Topovich is the backup for Montgomery. But Perez with a 3.23 goals against average and a 644 save percentage. Of course, right now she's got the 1-0 lead as her counterpart, Deanna Vallerine, gives up their first goal. She only averages 1.4 goals against. So a rare early score here against Anne Arundel.
Defensive back line is going to have to be really careful against Fernandez. She just about took advantage once again. She is pressuring so much. We talked about how critical the clears are going to be, and she is just a special player. You can tell early on in this contest how opportunistic she is. And Godoy,
nice
idea.
Oh, and look at the weight on the backside. Waited for that ball to come, knowing it was going to skip, and nearly got a shot on it from the far side. I think that was Kuang on the far end, but Godoy with a beautiful foot to cross that one in. And already Anne Arundel with a lot of pressure on the defensive third so far, as Montgomery keeping up the pressure. We again mentioned Vallerine 1.1 or 1.4 goals against average. She's only allowed 18 goals this entire season, and a save percentage hovering around 83%, but the first shot she's seen today has gotten past her. And by the way, we should point out, from Hirabayashi, it was a beauty from the top of the box.
Well, it certainly was, and for Galen Hirabayashi, she's the only second-year player on this Montgomery College team. Nice to see her get a goal here in this championship game, because she really has been so instrumental in what Montgomery College has been able to do from a leadership perspective, when you think about that she's really the experienced player out on the field and has really been so critical in terms of helping to organize this team. I spoke with her head coach, Phil Nana, before the game. He told me that she's such a dynamic player. He moved her into the midfield. She has battled through injuries with an MCL injury.
Nice shot on goal, and the first opportunity for Perez to see some action. She easily gobbles that one up and looks to clear.
She had great positioning there. She read it very well. An easy save for Delmi Perez on her first opportunity to get involved in this contest.
And Arundel with its first opportunity to put some pressure on. And here we go again. Haran coming down the wing. She had set up the last opportunity, but good defense that time coming from Kawanang, and now they have a double team come down, and it's going to go out of bounds, and it's going to belong as a goal kick for Montgomery, who looks to lose the pressure. The wind appears to be coming basically off the back end of your right side, so kind of moving right to left, but a little bit towards camera, if that makes any sense to you. So almost on a diagonal here. They're going to call a foul in reality, so it's going to be a long direct kick. Basically from the end line.
Really outstanding defense by Maggie Prokop. She's one of the center backs for this team, and she has come up with some nice plays early on. And again, the center backs on both of these clubs are going to have good games today, and so Prokop certainly a player we're going to be talking a lot about. Nice idea by Fernandez.
As they switch fields, go to the far side, off the shin, and will slip out of bounds. Let's quickly talk about the Anne Arundel starting lineup. Number 2, Madeline Stevenson. Of course, we mentioned this just as Riverhawks will bring in a new player. Jacqueline Mullen comes in and replaces Alexis McArdle. Also, but back to the starters again. Madeline Stevenson, the freshman forward. Number 3, Ashley Sherwin at midfield. Gabrielle Keogh, the freshman midfielder forward. Mullen just entered the game for McArdle, as we mentioned. Courtney Shuttle, number 13, the sophomore defensive player. Angela Horan, number 15, the freshman midfielder. Number 16, Angela Sarach, the freshman midfielder. And number 18, Reina Bocanegra, the freshman midfielder. And Kayla Beasley, the sophomore defenseman, number 21. And then we mentioned Deanna Vallerine in goal. Substitutions, just a quick note, especially if you're a college fan. Unlimited substitutions at this level. It's about the biggest difference between this and the NCAA rules. Outside of that, pretty much identical games in case you are just tuning in and getting used to either style of play.
Nice ball.
Yeah, great ball.
Anne Arundel switching sides of the field once again.
Horan tries to keep it in. They're going to say it went off Fernandez. And so Anne Arundel now with the pressure in the defensive third, trying to take advantage of it. Down 1-0. Early in this contest, the winner goes on to the national championship weekend in upstate New York, in the Cortland area. A big collision between Anne Arundel players, and the defense keeps it in the Montgomery half as both players get back to their feet, as Orion has been everywhere so far when the ball's been in the offensive end.
Had a chance to talk with Anne Arundel head coach Karen Victorio before the contest a little bit about the earlier meeting between these two teams, and she told me that the big thing for her team, they're very hungry. They felt like in that earlier meeting,
great through ball.
They gave a couple away to Montgomery. There were 2 goals that they would have loved to have back. They thought that they were their own mistakes, and so that's really stuck in the back of their mind coming into this contest. That's something that they really wanted to try to clean up today, and now that they're down by 1, again, I think that's what you're going to be seeing out of Anne Arundel. This is a hungry team. They're going to be trying to press for some offensive opportunities.
There's a good out in there, but a little too far ahead of Horan. And on the other side, Hirabashi tried to thread the needle to Rodriguez. A great ball for her, but the smart play by Vallerine to come out and play it, and we get a foul as they tried to play the 50-50 ball at midfield. Will give Montgomery a chance to restart. A little bit of a crowd out here tonight, this morning, braving the weather. Maybe for some of you it is till tonight. A few more filing in as the weather has improved. Again, we are about 10 minutes into this game. Raptors have the 1-0 lead on a goal by Hirabashi off the Fernandez initial shot deflected. About 5 minutes in, and we're up 1-0. This ball is going to be left a little short, but Fernandez tries to play it with her chest. Official says she played it with her arm. It'll be a free kick instead for Anne Arundel to relieve the pressure.
Unlucky there for Fernandez, but you see they just look for her on every single possession, and I think that tells you everything that you have to know about Gabriela Fernandez, because she has had a bullseye on her back all season long, and when you see the numbers that she's been able to put up, certainly teams with their scouting reports know that they're going to be looking for her, and her ability to find a way to score despite all the attention that she gets from defenses is really just a credit to what she has been able to do out on the field this season.
Godoy was directing traffic. She's going to try and do it again. Actually, that's Hirabashi trying to do it. Both Hirabashi and Godoy can control the traffic if they need to coming out of the midfield. One thing I've noticed early on in this one, though, it's Montgomery's defense. It's a little bit suspect. That's the third misplay, second in a row, and Perez has to come out and clean things up.
Look at Godoy once again, just such
Takes
great
it off
technical skill.
Offsides. Just a little bit early there. Godoy with an outstanding play, tried to feed Rodriguez, but Rodriguez had broken through the defense a step early, and a quick flag draws that one to a close.
What is so impressive to me about Godoy, we talked a little bit earlier about how she had that MCL injury, which Phil Nana told me she's only at about 80%.
Oh, those are painful.
Right now. And the way that she's out there playing, see her right there battling every single possession, the foul's going to go against her, but she is putting everything out on the field right now, and it just tells you a lot about the heart of Godoy.
Yeah. Quick restart. Sriracha will be able to throw it in from the sideline. Godoy all over the field so far in this one. But again, back to that Montgomery defense. They've had 3 or 4 occasions now where they have misplayed it in the back and almost given Anne Arundel a chance to score. We're going to have to keep an eye on that as Perez had to come up. And again, Perez has allowed 42 goals, and as a former goalkeeper, not I want to put everything on the defense, but sometimes that's because of the defense, maybe allowing too many opportunities. Perez has seen quite a few shots on goal, over 100 this season. Here's another opportunity with a misplay in the back, takedown in the box, and they're going to call it on Arundel. A foul called, I believe, on Haran. And she just seemed to know it already because she got up and started walking away from the penalty box immediately. I think she knew she was the offending party there.
But certainly as a defender, that's a scary moment as well. You have to be very smart because you certainly don't want to be the one getting that call going against you. So nice play by the Montgomery defense.
Trying the through ball and got it through.
They are looking for Fernandez continually. What a play.
Nice cleanup
by Courtney Schulte.
Schulte comes in and cleans it up. The Old Mill graduate does the job. Initially, it was Beasley who allowed it to get past her. Beasley got her feet locked in and tried to use her hip to stop the ball, which had skipped off of the wet turf.
And Schulte really has been the player that has stepped it up on that back line in terms of defense because Anna Arundel has just been hit with a lot of injuries as we get the handball call there.
Yeah,
and Schulte has really picked up some of the slack with some of her teammates being out, so she really has stepped it up as one of the sophomores on this roster for Anna Arundel.
Stevenson with a handball call on her. Godoy with some frustration trying to get a ball for the free kick as the initial game ball gotten kicked down in the opposite direction, and the ball girl was unsure if she was in a position to give that ball back. So Godoy will set up here, but the official's going to pull the wall back. The wall seems to be ignoring the official for a short period of time there.
A little close there.
Yeah, Keogh and Stevenson, the two-man wall. Godoy's going to launch this one into the box. That's a beauty. Head on, back, coast, and goal.
Unbelievable. But again, Nicole Godoy on these set-piece opportunities has been sensational on the afternoon so far.
That is a beauty of a ball, and it wasn't the best header, but it was just enough to redirect the initial attempt, and with the wet turf, allow it to skip as the rain has suddenly gotten turned on. Mother Nature has said, yeah, enough of this nice weather. So Montgomery leads 2-0. It's Hirabayashi with her second goal.
What an morning rather that Hirabayashi has been having, and again Godoy set that up perfectly. You cannot do that much better than she did.
No.
And I'm not sure how Hirabayashi got her head on that. As you said, it wasn't really a clean hit, but it was just enough to direct it into the net.
Guess who's got her foot on the ball? It's Godoy. This time she's going to be a little less advantageous and crosses the field. But yeah, again, back to that initial effort. Godoy with a beauty to the perfect spot of the box. And then Hirabayashi able to outmuscle her defenders to get at least a head on it. Sometimes it's all about the flick. And she's able to flick it on and beat, once again, Valérine, who has, again, had a tremendously good season. She's now given up 2 goals early in this one, and here comes pressure coming down into the box again, and she nearly misplays it as the ball has gotten very wet, and just like that, the rain has gotten turned off.
Well, and expect that all day long when you look at the weather
forecast. You're right.
There's just little pockets of rain, so the players are going to have to contend with it when it happens, and it certainly does impact, I think, for the most part, the defense and the goalkeepers are going to be the ones that are going to have to play extremely smart with this weather, because one mishit or a goalkeeper, if you just get a hand on it, could still just not be enough if the ball is really slick. So
Godoy with a body to block out the Anna Arundel player. Godoy, as you said, just not afraid. She just shielded Mullen right off the ball there. And the goalie well out of the box.
Valerian
now
has had
backs
to be
up.
really active in this first half, not just because she's gotten the shots fired on her, but so many good balls have been passed forward, so she's had to be really focused to make these plays so far. And even though those 2 shots have gone past her, she has really made some heads-up plays, and it's a bit difficult, as we've been talking about, on this slick field.
Should point out Montgomery coming into the 6-7-0, Anne Arundel coming in 9-4-1. Again, they were the two low seeds of the four-seeded championship weekend here. They both knocked off the top seeds to earn their chance here. The top seed actually coming out of the Georgia area, being the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed being Howard. And, I mean, talk about role reversal in the Howard scenario against this Montgomery team. They had rolled over Montgomery near the end of the season. Then Montgomery rolled back over them in the semifinals. Two different games, 10 days apart. Anne Arundel's going to get a free opportunity here. Kicker's going to be Mullen, who has 1 goal and assist on the season. She's going to use her right. She's going to loft it in, but there's a whistle. And now the official literally yelling at one of the Anne Arundel players. It's Horan. I think we're going to get a retry here as he had blown it dead early. And I don't believe Montgomery realizes this, as Godoy is way out of position right now. She thought they'd earned themselves a free ball, but I had heard a whistle right before the kick. As the rain is now turned back on here. This game's gotten physical. This has gotten very physical.
Well, there's a lot on the line today, and you're seeing that out on the field. We talked about how hungry that Anne Arundel is, but both of these teams really have a lot on the line and wanting to win this contest. And so Anne Arundel now down by 2. You're going to certainly, wow, what great speed.
Well, and talk about closing out and getting back. Schulte had gotten beaten on the play, had misrun her angle to try and cut off the play, and then turned on the jets to get back to stop it.
Well, again, she has really stepped up her level of play, particularly as of late, and she has come up with some clutch defensive plays in this contest so far for Anne Arundel.
Faucet is back on here in Arundel, Maryland, as the rain is coming down once again on a already wet field. Now the players are soaked. As a former player myself, I always hated rain days when you were dry. Once you were wet, who cares at this point? You wanted to play. You're going to get soaked anyway. The ball deflects, gets tied up in the defense of Montgomery, trying to play it back now for Wang Nang. And she's able to flick it on to Perez, who flicks it back. Correction, that's Fernandez. And then Fernandez can't hold on to it. Ball plays up the Montgomery player, but no whistle. It's still loose in the middle of the field. As you say, middle of the field is the most important part for either team today. I'm finding the players having a lot of trouble controlling the ball on their foot, which is a little bit surprising today.
Well, I think some of it's the weather.
Yeah, I'm just surprised how much it's getting stuck. Big collision at midfield. And not sure where the call was. It's the first time I've ever seen an official point to the bench on a foul call, but looks like he had an initial foul earlier on and is ruling back on that play on. So Montgomery will get a chance at the free kick.
Well, and Dave, you were talking a little earlier about how interesting it was with Montgomery defeating Howard and how different it was. And I think the big key for Montgomery is they've gotten so many of these players back.
Yeah, that's so true.
They had a lot of injured players, and one of them, of course, was Gabriela Fernandez.
Yeah.
And then Emily Carpenter as well, who's one of their top defenders. So that can be a really crucial difference maker, because it was very lopsided when you look at the season finale, the 3-0, and then yesterday Montgomery College was just at the top of their game, the way that they played that 5-1 victory.
Dominated that game. And really all second half, that was a 0-0 game at halftime. And they just turned on everything at halftime and just blitzed past Howard. Nice through ball from the defense, but Fernandez is not going to run onto it.
And that is what they have done so well today with Montgomery College, is setting up these players with these nice through balls. They do a nice job trying to lead their players into space, not just playing it to their feet. That has been their big advantage in this contest, and you see Fernandez taking advantage once again, and she...
Topovich, who gave her that pass, and it goes out of bounds. 23 minutes left to go, we should point out, in this half. 2-0 lead for Montgomery. She's Monica Moore. I'm Dave McHugh. Hope you're enjoying this Region 20, District 8 championship game. Winner goes on to the national championship weekend in upstate New York. Another opportunity that Anne Arundel's able to thwart a little bit, but the defense playing well up from Montgomery stops Anne Arundel from the clear. Back and forth. Got an opportunity at the top. Goalie way out of position. Still out and finally calls off her defense and picks it up. That was a dangerous scenario there for Valorant, who I feel is feeling a little pressure to try and stop some of these opportunities herself.
Kayla Beasley, though, came up with another good defensive play for Anne Arundel because, as you said, Valerian a bit out of position. She was really helped out on that play by her defensive back line because otherwise I think Montgomery College would have had a very good look at goal.
Looked like Rodriguez, who has it now, had an opportunity from about 18 out with a goalie 15 yards out. Through ball, almost a miscommunication.
And again, it's Beasley, though, kind of blocking off
Rodriguez,
making a smart play.
Yep.
I have been very impressed with Kayla Beasley.
And Godoy with the ball back to Fernandez. Fernandez tries to get up to Rodriguez. And the defense for Anne Arundel starting to stand a little bit more firm now as the rain and wind continue. The wind especially, as we get a bit of a surge of rain coming through the region on a day that was supposed to be a complete washout. We at least got lucky with the start of this game. And this will be a throw-in. I feel bad for the officials in this one, especially the sideline guys. There's no protection for them as they stand and watch. Nice through ball, but it's going to be a little too far ahead. In a non-rainy day, that would have been right on Rodriguez's foot, and she would have had an unabated effort in on goal. As we hit 21 minutes left to go in the half.
These offensive players, though, from Montgomery have such good chemistry.
Yes.
You can see just how intentional everything that they're trying to do is, just looking for each other again, playing the ball to open space, knowing that their teammates can use their speed in order to create opportunities.
Big collision and a little bit of a pull down. I think in wrestling that would be 2 points.
A little too much from Prokop on that play.
Yeah, Prokop used both hands. If you're watching, you know what, that almost reminded me of a defensive back just pulling down the wide receiver in football. Just used both hands and just ended it. So Haran's going to get a chance here to try and, that's Mullen who's going to try and get a chance to lift this one in. On to the head of Haran. It's loose, and Perez snuffs off the opportunity. Though a little bit dangerous, she let that one come into her body, but she gets away with it as she punts it away.
That was a nice ball by Jacqueline Milan.
Yeah. Big collision. Rodriguez pushes off Beasley, and it will be a free kick for Anne Arundel as they restart quickly. 20 minutes left to go here in the half. 2-0 Montgomery the lead here on Anne Arundel. As the rain turns off a bit to a drizzle. It's going to be like that all day, folks. Hope you're enjoying this one at home. You probably are one of many who are enjoying it at home. There are a few fans here who are toughening out the weather. But on a day like today, I kind of would be in your position, sitting at home, maybe with a nice drink and enjoying this one as we get an early start to the Region 20 District 8 Championships here this morning. Of course, coming up at 1 o'clock, it will be Howard versus Northern Virginia on the men's side. Ball through. I will say this much. It is hard to see where the penalty box was, but she came out as far as she possibly could. Oh.
And a bit of a scary moment to me for Delmy Perez going with the dive there. I was a little worried.
I thought she was going to slide out of the box.
If she misplayed it.
Yeah, or misplayed it. You're right. She kind of let her body go to the side of it. You always get taught as a goalkeeper, keep your body between the ball and the goal, and she let the ball or the body go to the side of the ball there, but it didn't. It worked out for her favor, so we will give her the benefit of the doubt. You talked about the chemistry, by the way, for this Montgomery team. There's only one sophomore on this team, and you look through them, and while we're not quite sure where all the towns are from, but you don't see a lot of common high schools and schools. Amazing chemistry for a team that basically has never played together until this year.
Well, and I think it's a lot of credit to the coaching staff, head coach Phil Nana and his coaching staff. They've really done a nice job getting this team to play together and really work together again. We talked about the fact that they've had a lot of injuries this year, and so that really requires, when you don't have as long as a roster, for other players to step up, and I think that they've done a nice job of that. And it's really, you never want to have injuries, but sometimes when you do have injuries, it allows some other players to step up and really come into their own a bit, and perhaps we're seeing some of the impacts of that here today. And that's been the same for Anne Arundel, too.
Yeah.
They've had injuries as
Absolutely.
well and had to have players step up.
Ball through, and Perez is going to let it come to the box, which allows me to finally determine exactly where the box is. Actually, she was a few yards still into her box when she let that come to her. I can spot the faint line on this field. Of course, this is one of those multi-purpose fields, very common with the turf fields of having every single line possible. We've got field hockey, lacrosse, soccer, and football lines on here, so it's a little difficult. But we
Look
oh,
at
nice.
Prokop.
Oh.
What a pass. They're going to
call
that
her
off.
offsides? Oh, that was directly in front of you and I, Monica. I thought she was well onside.
I thought she was onside as well, but what a ball by Prokop.
They're going to replace in the ball, but yeah, Prokop played that beautifully. Off, by the way, the deflection on top of that, and I thought it was off to the races for Fernandez, and a foul from behind as they're going to get, looks like Carpenter for getting a little too physical on that one.
This is going to be Milan again.
Milan going into the wind a little bit.
That beautiful ball earlier.
Oh,
wow.
This is a drive straight on goal. Almost misplayed. And standing there waiting for the rebound was Stevenson. But Perez gets lucky. That's the second time, Monica. She's allowed that to come into her body. She's got to be careful because if she mishandles that, it's going to be an easy opportunity for Anne Arundel.
That was well played by Jacqueline Milan.
Oh, she put some topspin on it, too. Milan's got a beautiful foot from deep. Anne Arundel starting to feel comfortable here. Nice through ball, giving an opportunity. And a good closeout defense that time from Kuanang. And she'll play the one-on-one game with Godoy. Oh, Godoy just a little too far ahead. And it was actually Prokop. I apologize. The numbers are a little tight. So a 5 and a 6 look very much exactly the same. Same as 8 and 9. So forgive us, folks, if we misidentify an individual, especially if it is your loved one. As the rain, we're going to have fun with this. The faucet got turned back on. As they play it back. Oh, just got past Fernandez on the clear by Valerian. And now Anne Arundel will try and build. In the middle, it is Keogh. Keogh will go to the far side.
Smart decision to switch up sides of the field by Keogh.
And Stagnita on the far side. Oh, look at that. Guy ends up getting into the middle to Stevenson. Stevenson trying to put it on her right foot. Cannot do it.
And it's Prokop. She is absolutely everywhere on that defensive back line. She has been the player on defense today for me from Montgomery College. She has been outstanding.
She's a little banged up right now after that collision with Stevenson. Stevenson wanted a foul. The ball in the meantime deflects off of.
Yeah, Prokop still looks like she's a little banged up.
She is a little bit worse for her wear. I can't tell if it's her lower body or her upper body. She's kind of favoring everything right now as she has been everywhere. She has been the stopgap. They're playing a bit of a flat 4 in the back. If you were playing a diamond 4 defense, you definitely call her a prototypical sweeper. Sweeping everywhere as the officials will call time here.
Let's hear it for number 4, Gabriela.
And it turns out Fernandez must have been injured as I was looking away. And so she will take a seat. And into the game, it appears.
She'll be replaced by number 3, Yasuris Peralta.
There you go. It's Yasuris Peralta, the
Well,
freshman defender. So she's going to play up, though.
We've talked about, Fernandez is playing injured.
Yes.
One of the big keys for her is just staying healthy.
Well, you mentioned those injuries from Montgomery. Fernandez playing in the 12th game of 14. Prokop playing in her 10th of 14. Carpenter, her 12th. Small chance if she gets in, will only be playing in her 10th. Hirabashi's only playing in her 8th game this season. She's got 2 goals on the day. Simpson playing in her 10th. And that's only about half of those that we could list as being injured. So, yeah, both of these teams are a little bit banged up. 14 minutes left to go here in the first half. It is 2-0 Raptors up on Riverhawks. Whoa, and a miss throw here from Sriracha. I think she intended to go to Mullet and just changed her mind. Mullet? I'm not sure. Needless to say, she's not allowed to be the first one to play it. And so it's a throw-in now for Montgomery. You don't see that every day, Monica.
Well, certainly don't. Again, it's slick. There's
Yeah.
a lot on the
Oh,
line.
absolutely.
Both of these teams seem like they're a little tight today.
Yep. The weather's not helping them.
Which is certainly understandable in a championship situation, and when you're dealing, again, the weather just gets in your head a little bit, but
Godoy tried to hit Guanang early on that one. And by the way, Fernandez out. Guanang has come to this side of the field. The weather, the rain is still falling, but a little bit less intense. But at this point, it's just rain for both these teams. It's keeping the field wet. It's keeping their uniforms wet. And Milan's going to get a chance here to put a foot into it.
she can just get so much distance.
Oh, that's an opportunity. Misplayed.
Look at Stevenson.
Coming on, trying to get it across. She definitely favors her right. And was trying to play something with the left, but it's going to be a corner anyway.
Corner kick,
And that play precipitated, it looked like it was it might have been Carpenter leaning back trying to play it with her foot, and it went off her foot. And we're coming close to double digits now of misplays in the back here by the Montgomery defense, which has set these opportunities up. And the corner is going to be taken here by Haran as she'll reposition the ball. Big battle right now between the keeper and Stagnita. And the referee's having a conversation with Godoy and Keogh. Godoy's been involved with a lot. She is playing very physical today. And she's got Keogh marked. This cross coming in. It's an in-swinger. Head on it, but can't do anything with it. Defense with a good job, and Prokop clears it. Comes back towards the box, and they'll clear it again. Defense for Arundel all the way upfield. They had pressure on even in the first half. This one's going to play well. Keogh's going to try and run onto it. And it will be kicked out of bounds by Aragubi. Keogh will throw it in, trying to keep the momentum up here. Tried to hit, what was that, Srirac, and unable to do so. And Godoy tries to bring it upfield.
It was a smart idea by Anne Arundel, as you said, to really try to quickly capitalize to get the ball back in bounds, to try to catch this defensive back line a little bit off guard, because as you said, really the chink in the armor today for Montgomery has been a little bit on that defensive back line. It has really been Prokop that's been keeping it together.
Again, while playing a flat four, she's kind of playing a sweeper's role coming in. And there you are again. And she just comes in, and she is definitely banged up. I think she got stepped on that time as she took it off the foot of Sherwin, but may have been stepped on, and she is hobbled.
She is hobbled, but there are no signs that she is going to want to come out of this contest. She is battling on every single possession, sacrificing her body.
And she just took a hit and is
slow
to
she
her
is
feet.
really hobbled right now.
Look, she's already looking. I got the kick. No, you take the kick. She finally backs off the idea. And there may be a sub coming in for her. On the far side, it appears that Small Chance is getting ready to come in. Of course, she's a forward. But, again, earlier on they brought in a defender for Fernandez, so they may just switch around players here. As a nice steal off Godoy's foot, and a nice job of sliding in and breaking up the effort by Argubi.
It was Beasley again. I mean, we've been talking a lot about offensive players, but really standouts for me, Prokop and Beasley in this contest. Those two defenders.
And I think we got a direct kick as Prokop takes another hit. And she is limping seriously at this point. She's also pulling up her shorts, which makes me think she's got an upper leg, but she's also reaching for her shin guards. Prokop's going to – this is the prototypical – is going to enjoy an ice bath after the game. As she's quite banged up. Now we got a substitution, and it's not going to be for Prokop. Taking a seat will be Rodriguez as Small Chance comes in. So forward for forward here. So Prokop, who is now stretching her quad, she definitely has a banged up quad now and is limping around. But once the light goes on, she is tough to stop.
I have to tell you, she's the one player out there I would want to have on the field.
Oh, sure.
If I was Montgomery College. So I think you're going to see her out there as long as she is able.
This ball has slowed down quite a bit, as both teams have kind of gotten within 30 yards of each other, defensive line to defensive line. Nice poke by Stevenson there, and the ball will come all the way downfield, and it will be Beasley looking to throw it upfield. And again, the game has gotten to within about 30 yards of each other. Through ball. Oh, got to be careful here. Got to play it off the foot. Cannot play it with the hands. Not exactly what I would have called. I heard Perez call for that one. I think she should have seen the player coming over the top and known that that wasn't the smartest play today. Stevenson with it. Nice pass. Just a little too far for Keogh. Keogh will cut back trying to get it back. And an excellent effort that time from Argubi, as the faucet has been turned off again.
Well, and interesting, going back to that play for Delmi Perez, one thing about her is she didn't come into the season really being the player that was the best playing with her feet. That's something that they've really been working with her on. She has great ability to make saves, but that has certainly been something that has been a work in progress.
Got an opportunity here, but the defense shutting it down, and this time closing off the option was Schulte. Good idea, but just not one that looked like it was up small chances ability to run onto. She doesn't have the same turn of speed as Rodriguez or Fernandez or Godoy, and the defense was able to close that one down. 7:16 left to go here in the first half. 2-0 Raptors, and we got another half to play still.
But certainly, Valerian hasn't had to do as much in the probably last 10 minutes or so. Her defense has done a nice job closing off some gaps, and I think a big difference that we've seen is Gabriela Fernandez not being in the game.
Stevenson with a great ball and a terrific defensive play. Stevenson tried to hit Horan. Fans want to call, but to be honest with you, Argubi hit that ball perfectly on the slide tackle. As long as you get the ball first, it does not matter what happens after that. Argubi got a beautiful effort, but Stevenson still has it. Now she is depossessed. And that's just an effort of getting the ball upfield by Hirabashi.
Well, and one thing that Montgomery College has done fairly well today is not letting Stevenson get as involved as she would like.
And shutting it off with Schulte.
And I think that's been a difference maker in this first half, is Madeline Stevenson has been a bit contained, because we know how dynamic she is on offense, just looking at the numbers, looking at what she was able to do Friday against Oxford College of Emory University.
By the way, Monica, notice the difference, too, here with Montgomery. You know, when Fernandez and Hernandez forgive me, folks, as Fernandez is in there along with Rodriguez, they're able to play to those two a little bit more and build from there. Now they've gone into a kick and run game. They've gone to a boot it and go chase it down game. There's no that possession in the forward end to try and bring the midfielders into the game. A little bit of a different tactic when those two are on the bench. Godoy versus the line there, and kicked out of bounds will be Montgomery possession on the near side. 5:20 left to go in the half. Stevenson plays it back to Sherwin, up ahead to Horan. Stevenson keeps it in bounds. Can she keep possession? She does. Into the corner. One-on-one. Plays it with her right foot. That's the one, definitely the disadvantage for Stevenson, is she doesn't look confident with trying it with her left. And that will be Beasley cleaning it up in the back. On to Keogh. Trying to build the offense here. Milan with it. Feeds to Sherwin, and that will sneak through and will be easily played by Perez, who nearly trips and falls on the wet turf.
That's exactly what Anne Arundel needs to do, like you said, is just to try to continue to build through the midfield, try to generate some good scoring opportunities. We've talked about how there are some gaps in that back line for Montgomery College, so they need to continue to just try to win that midfield battle, to try to put something together and get some good offensive opportunities. That's the thing that's been lacking for them in this first half. Really, the best opportunity was the corner kick that they had, and then of course that opportunity for Jacqueline Milan. But other than set piece opportunities, they have not really been able to generate anything offensively to test Delmi Perez.
And Perez does the slide technique again, as Keogh was running on, as Sherwin had tried to thread the needle, and Perez decides she likes this side of the field better and will come this way and punt it instead. As I think Anne Arundel's noticed that the back line for Montgomery is a little suspect, and they're trying a lot of through balls, because either one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to hit a target, or Montgomery may misplay it, allowing them to keep playing on. So that's a tactic I've seen change since the early part of this half, as we got less than 3.5 to go here. In the first half, 2-0 Raptors the lead. As Haran tried to play on, it goes out of bounds. Will give Montgomery a chance to throw it in. Chance to move on to the championships in upstate New York for one of these two teams. Sherwin with it, and kicked out of bounds by Carpenter. As Stevenson will throw it in, and right to Godoy, who tried to clear it, but the ball didn't go anywhere. And now playing on, it is Hirabashi upfield, and then kicked out of bounds by Surech, the Crofton, Maryland native. Not surprisingly, all these Anne Arundel players from basically the immediate vicinity.
Certainly a lot of great talent in
Oh,
this
yeah.
area, and you're seeing a lot of it on display here today.
Stevenson, good defense there against Prokop, who's playing a bit hobbled, though she's certainly moving better now. Right into the back of Keogh. Keogh thought that was going to go further upfield. I think the wind may have knocked that down. Godoy with the trap, and can't hold on to the ball, and now gives a nice hug. And she may earn the card here.
Yeah, I think that one's been
She's
coming
walking away.
for
Yeah.
a while because,
Yeah.
as you said, she's been playing very physical out on the field. I think the official's been keeping an eye on that one, and that one just a little too
A
much.
yellow card has been issued.
You're going to find this
Number
surprising
14,
considering how hard
Godoy.
she's playing today. That's her first yellow card of the season. And for whatever reason, she is running to the other side of the field with 2:05 left. I didn't see a substitution. And I'll freely admit, there's a chance that she...
That was Prokop again.
Yep. .150 left here. Yep, man down right now for Montgomery as Godoy is off the side of the field. And probably waiting for the official to... Well, she's just standing at midfield. And now they'll bring her in.
Returning for the Raptors, number 14, Nicole Godoy.
Montgomery trying to hold off Anne Arundel here in the closing 75 seconds of the first half with a 2-0 lead for the Raptors. They're trying to keep that lead intact, or they'll certainly keep it intact for the half, but try not to give Anne Arundel anything to build off at halftime, as the rain is on and off and the wind permanently on so far here this morning, with a minute left to go of the half.
Well, it certainly is a different feeling being down by 1 versus being
Oh,
down by
absolutely.
2 at the half. So under a minute remaining in this first half, Anne Arundel would love to try to get on the scoreboard in this last minute. Meanwhile, for Montgomery College, it's going to be interesting. I can't imagine with a 2-goal lead that we'll see Fernandez back. I think they're probably
No.
going to try to keep her as healthy and rested as possible. But
She may start the second half just to keep her legs a little under her, but otherwise I suspect if they keep this lead, you're right, we're not going to see a lot of her today. As 23 seconds remain here at halftime, we're going to take a bit of a break along with you, come back with a few minutes left in the half to get you up to speed on things before we start the second half. As Montgomery's
10
working
seconds
its way
remaining.
down, but
9,
10 seconds
8,
left, not much of an
7,
effort going to be probably
6,
here.
5,
Throw it in,
4,
keep it in,
3, 2, 1.
and that will do it. So Montgomery
That is
gets
the
things
end of the
going
first half of
early.
play. Montgomery College
Less than
leads
5 minutes into the
2-0.
game, they get their first goal from Hirabashi off of a Fernandez kick that deflected to Hirabashi, who blasted it from just outside the box. 10 minutes later, Hirabashi gets a header in off of a Godoy free kick from 35 yards out. And it is a 2-0 lead for the Raptors, but the second half started to belong a little bit more to Anne Arundel. It was down to Montgomery's defensive end for a long time. So what's going to happen in the second half? We'll see what happens. Riverhawks trail Raptors 2-0 in this District 8, or District 20, Region 8 championship. From Monica Moore, I'm Dave McHugh. We're going to take a break here at the half. We'll be back in about 10 minutes to get you ready for second half action of this championship game from Anne Arundel. Clear, sir. And welcome back as we get ready for halftime to come to a close here in the first of two games here at Anne Arundel Community College in Arnold, Maryland. If you're curious in the area, we are just north of Annapolis, Maryland, in between D.C. and Baltimore. It's the Riverhawks and the Raptors. Montgomery Community College Raptors up 2-0 on the Anne Arundel Community Riverhawks. And I'm Dave McHugh alongside Monica Moore on a day that Mother Nature is toying with everybody. I think she's got a child playing with the water faucet. The rain will be on, then it'll be off, then it'll be on, then it'll be off. And we literally just went through that at halftime. Pretty even game in a lot of senses. It is not the prettiest of games, and we could probably fault that a lot on the weather.
And exciting, Dave. I think you were right. I was wrong. It looks like Gabriela Fernandez is going to be starting
Yep, there she is.
this second half, and so that will certainly be impacting things for Montgomery College.
Well, something I'd said at the end of the half, and I think you kind of saw it too, was Montgomery had gone into a boot and run game. They were kicking it upfield and hoping their forwards could run onto it. With Fernandez in it, with Rodriguez in it, and Godoy can now kind of play off of them a little bit. You get into more of a possession and hold game where the forwards can hold it and play off each other, allowing the rest of the offense, like the midfielders to get into position, as obviously both teams will switch sides and Arundel will start off here. Here's what I'm curious, how are the goalies going to play in this second half? Perez was a little bit tight and had some close ones that if Anne Arundel can take advantage of, can get back into this. And on the other side of things, 2 early goals, not the best to give up, seemed to hit the confidence a little bit on the other side for Anne Arundel, but she also came back a little bit stronger, and her defense came back strong in the second half.
Well, and certainly I have to give a lot of credit to the Anne Arundel defensive back line.
Yes.
We talked a lot about Schulte. We talked a lot about Beasley. I thought they both played very strong after those first 2 goals. But
Prokop. Oh, she nearly got in deep trouble there, and I don't know if she had a miscommunication with Perez or not, but ironic considering your conversation about the back lines.
And she really was the one that was very solid early on, and really throughout the entirety of that first half for Montgomery College. She really helped keep that defensive back line in check for Montgomery College, because otherwise, as you said, they had some miscues in that first half and really could have given some opportunities to Anne Arundel, but Maggie Prokop was just everywhere out on the field. She did a lot of cleanup responsibilities. As you said, she's really kind of playing in that sweeper role where she's not confined to just one spot. She is just all over on the field wherever they need her to be, and that she's really that last line of defense.
Just a note on Fernandez, the last offensive possession there for Montgomery. She tried to put it into the middle of the box and got unceremoniously dumped to the turf by Schulte. And you think about the injuries she's gone through, you wanted to see how quick will the trigger be in a 2-0 game. Listen, 2-goal leads are the most dangerous leads in soccer. It feels comfortable. A team will sit back, and 1 goal changes everything. And I can't tell you how many 2-goal games I've seen disappear. And we'll see what happens here. But at the same time, you talk about injuries. If you have the win, you're going on to the championship weekend. You don't want to beat these players up for no reason either. Stevenson tries to cross it, and Prokop will clear it out of the box.
Well, certainly there's going to be some tough coaching decisions to have to be made in terms of who you leave out on the field. But as you said, with a 2-goal lead is not that comfortable in soccer, because if you are able to get that 1 goal, it changes the tenor of the game a lot. But right now for Anne Arundel,
there's a little give and go.
They really are going to have to try to win time of possession in this second half and put together some offensive opportunities that aren't just generated from set pieces. That's what they were not able to do very well in the first half, and that's what they're going to have to try to do better in this second half if they want to get back in this contest. They're going to have to try to get Madeline Stevenson more involved, and they are going to have to exploit that defensive back line. They're going to have to try to find some gaps and really test this goalkeeper, Perez. She made some gutsy decisions in that first half. Some of them could have gone the other way for her.
Sometimes she let the ball play her versus she playing the ball. A moment ago, by the way, as Fernandez gets hit again, this time from, again, I should say, it's Schulte. She didn't like the call, but she clipped Fernandez pretty good. A moment ago, Fernandez and Godoy had a nice back and forth. Fernandez nearly got Godoy on the give and go, but it was Beasley who it was Schulte who cleaned it up again as the faucet gets turned on, as these two teams continue to battle in not the best conditions. And we'll try and switch fields, does Montgomery, as Carpenter looks to go to the far side. And Keogh gets caught standing. And that will get played through and will be easily picked up by Valerian. And again, you get back to that Perez. She's got to have a strong line in Prokop and the rest. But Prokop's been about the strongest player back there for that line. And Anne Arundel has probed it a little bit with their three forwards. Their three forwards right now being Bocanegra, who we have not talked a lot about, but she's on the near side with us, along with Haran, and on the far side with Stevenson. Fernandez stopped playing, thinking the ball was out of play. The assistant official, disagrees with her, and he's the one who makes that decision. And so the ball remains with Anne Arundel, though it is stuck in the middle of the field as Godoy picks up the errant pass. And now that will go out of bounds, and that's going to frustrate Montgomery. Godoy playing with a yellow card, we should point out.
Well, certainly true. She's going to have to keep it in check in this second half. She does not want to get a second yellow card.
For a lot of reasons. She leaves this game, but then she'll also miss, if they move on, the semifinals.
Correct. And so she is going to have to play very smart and very disciplined throughout the remainder of this second half.
And again, something I pointed out earlier, that's her first yellow card of the season. Neither team really yellow card happy, let's say it. Both teams with 6 yellow cards on the season each. So it's not like that is a common factor for these teams. Whereas on the men's side, one team's got 22 yellows coming into this game. They're a little bit more aggressive, or at least card worthy.
I have to tell you, though, you definitely want to stay around for that second game today. That is going to be a fantastic matchup.
2 top seeds.
And when you look at the season that Nova has been having, I mean, this is their best season on record. This is their first championship final.
Since 2010.
The first time they have ever been nationally ranked.
Yep. Keeping the ball in and a good fight on the near side. That is Haran battling it out with Carpenter. Finally cleaned off by guess who? Prokop. It's becoming a theme. Prokop will back up her teammates. Watch out. It might be Perez misplaying a ball and Prokop clearing it off the line is something I foresee.
Well, she has been nothing short of outstanding, and you still see her when the ball is not in play, and she does not seem to be walking with as much energy as you might expect. I mean, she is hobbled. She seems to bend over on a lot of these dead whistles and just seem to be in a bit of pain, and you have to give her so much credit because she is leaving everything out on the field today.
She is turning it on when she needs to and turning it off when necessary or possible, and is stretching and nursing whatever is ailing her at every opportunity, and Anne Arundel cannot find a way to get around her, and Stevenson will try, and Prokop will shut it down, and now we'll go one-on-one with Stevenson. It's a tussle between the two. Stevenson actually gets the ball back after the ball rolled past Prokop, but Prokop won't let her turn, and now she gets help on the defense in the corner, and Stevenson turns into a it's going to turn into a corner kick, but she turned into a little bit of a bouncing ball between the two defenders.
But this is where Anne Arundel has been dangerous today, is on these set-piece opportunities. They have done a really good job.
Now this is going to be an outswinger. So we'll see how this one plays. Perez trying to battle with the offensive player. It's going to go straight in. Perez mishandles it, but it goes over for another corner kick. Oh my. Perez got lucky. She was battling with the offensive player, which is the last thing you should do as a goalie. She's battling again. It's another one, but this time it's not going to make it towards the crossbar. If you're a goalie, the one thing, I played goalie in college, and one thing you do when an offensive player is there is you don't get the offensive player on the goal side of you. You don't come to the other side. And second of all, don't get in a battle with them. Let your defense take care of them. And Perez did it both times that time and nearly coughed up a goal as a result. Anne Arundel holds on to the ball off the goal kick, though barely. The middle of the field has turned into a quagmire, and I don't mean because of the weather. Keogh looks to be a step out right now, too. She just doesn't seem to have it. But it's not like these two teams are deep on their benches. These are the players for the most part as the rain is continuing to pour and the wind picks up pace.
Well, we've talked about it a lot, but it's tough conditions out here. I think both these two teams are, as we talked about, playing a little tight in this contest. They feel the pressure on the line. They know that it's been a bit of a sloppy game, so that gets in your head a little bit. And sometimes, honestly, you just try to do a little too much. And I think we've seen this out of times. I think that's what you're seeing out of Delmi Perez. Because the thing you have to understand about Delmi Perez is she really is the player on this team that's the unsung hero. And she has been the player that has faced a lot of the adversity this season. She's had games where she's had a lot of goals get past her. She's had to keep her head in it. But she's been the player that's also kept them in a lot of games. And so I think that's just a lot of what we're seeing is we're seeing players put a little bit of pressure on themselves and, again, just trying to do a little much on some of these plays.
Beasley will play it all the way back to Valerian, who will feel some pressure and will switch fields. No one there, but she at least got it out of her box. And Anne Arundel with a steal. It's Milan with the ball, and then tried to feed Stevenson, and it's cleared off by, you're right, Prokop.
No surprise there.
No surprise at all, as Anne Arundel will throw it in here. We have 35 minutes left to go in this game. It is a 2-0 lead for Montgomery, but Anne Arundel for the last, let's call it 30 minutes, has been pressuring Montgomery's defensive end. Montgomery has not had the same success they had in the opening 15 minutes of this game, which ended up with 2 goals. The defense for Anne Arundel has tightened well, and the middle of the field has gone almost to Anne Arundel's way, at least defensively. And I don't know about you, Mike. It almost feels like I'm just waiting for a breakthrough. Like one of these teams is going to find that gap and take advantage of it. And more, this is starting to feel like Anne Arundel might find that hole.
It does seem like they've had a little bit more of the momentum in the second half, which is a good sign for the Riverhawks because it was an exact role reversal in the first half. It really started out with Montgomery just being so strong. They got those 2 early goals, and it just changed the entire focus of that first half. And this is Stevenson right here.
She's got the ball, battling for it on the far side. Kicks it off a Montgomery player. And somehow, I'm not positive how, Konang is able to get it on her foot and up ahead to Rodriguez. She plays it back to Small Sands. And up ahead, trying to play the through ball for Rodriguez, and it is cleared at the top of the box by Valerian into the near side. Well, and it's going to be Anne Arundel throwing. The referee disagrees with the players on the field.
More of what we saw out of Montgomery in the first half.
Yeah.
A little bit too much on that ball, allowing Valerian to get there, but I think that's exactly what Montgomery wants to go back to that in this second half.
Flick on for Anne Arundel off the throw-in. As Bocanegra then has it go off her shoulder. Bocanegra looking a little bit tired. She has not been much of a factor in this game as the ball is cleared into the stands. With 33 minutes left to go here in the game between Montgomery community and Anne Arundel community for a chance to play in the championship weekend in the NJCAA as Milan comes up or goes down. Stevenson comes down a
little hobbled.
Yeah. Nice flick on, but Bocanegra just cannot run onto that. Bocanegra playing in her 15th game, just 9th start on the season.
I know we keep talking about Prokop, but she just rarely makes a mistake.
You're right.
Her ability to clear the ball is so strong, and you just see her sometimes, that back line, they just defer to her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like a second goalie in some sense. She's the captain of that defense, clearly, but for good reason. As a foul is called, it's going to give Milan a chance to put her foot into it, and she's got one. With the wind at her back, she puts it at the top of the box. It's flicked on. Bocanegra has a chance. Can't control it.
Milan really has been the player, too, that, you know, has stood out. Like, coming into this contest, she was not the player that I was expecting to be talking about so much today. I didn't know as much about her, but she has stood out to me so much. She has quite a foot on her, and just her ability to place the ball.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. By the way, tremendously good offsides trap by Schulte that time. Timed her run perfect. Hand by from Pokoff. They're going to say play on. Stevenson's got it. She'll try and poke it through. Cannot. The official having said play on, does not give Anne Arundel the opportunity for the kick, though the fans don't like it. Clearly, he said that was a play on. Keogh having trouble, now played back, and it's Beasley. Tries to hit Keogh. Keogh can't control. Back into the middle of the field. Earlier I said that was Small Shands. I misspoke. It's Hirabashi, number 13. Feeds Rodriguez to the far side. She's battling with Beasley into the corner, and Beasley will kick it out of bounds from the throw-in. Beasley and Schulte, the two mainstays in the back for this Anne Arundel defense. 2-0, and things are getting tense with 31 minutes left. Anne Arundel feels like they've missed some opportunities, and they can't let Montgomery get another one.
But as we talked about, I mean, really the key for them, they are a very hungry team, and they've certainly been playing a little bit more like it in the second half. They've generated a lot more offensive opportunities, because I think the key for Montgomery College in the first half was really they owned time of possession early on. They got those good opportunities. Their offense was really their best defense for a while, and it set the tone for the game, whereas in this second half, it seems like Anne Arundel has been getting more offensive time of possession. They've been able to string together some nicer runs towards goal. They just haven't been able to get that breakthrough play, as very clearly, as you said, offsides there for Fernandez.
Anne Arundel's playing a nice offsides trap. They're baiting the offensive players, and right when they see the through ball coming, they are taking a step up before it's kicked.
That's a nice adjustment that they've made, particularly in the second half. Yep.
Wow. That's they've gotten 2 or 3 offsides already in this half. Nice through ball. Bocanegra on her left foot will feed into Stevenson. Stevenson will off her foot. Bocanegra tries to go for the shot, and now they call offsides. Not really sure what that assistant saw, as the ball was on both players. Doesn't matter, because Montgomery had snuffed out the opportunity anyway.
And it was Prokop once again.
Yeah. Guess who, right? Under 30 minutes to play. We haven't really talked about the coaching staffs for Anne Arundel. They're led by Karen Victorio, assisted by Grace Kelly, Kate Lockhart, and Robert Masters. Head coach for Montgomery is Philip Nana. He's assisted by Yannick Pato, Sonia Reda, Benjamin Arite, and Aaron Sherman.
Kind of a nice fact about Coach Victorio. I think she's just in her second season here with Anne Arundel, but her daughter actually played for Anne Arundel, and this is a team that's had a lot of success.
Yes.
And so her daughter has been part of this program's history, and now Coach Victorio as well, and getting her team once again to this championship final here.
For anybody in the local area watching the game, I ran into Dennis and Cabral here at halftime, but give it a second. Keogh's got a chance. Flips it over Perez, and it's going to find the back of the net. Keogh with the flick on. Past the hands of Perez, who had come out of her goal. And with 28:43 left to go in the second, the Riverhawks have made this a one-goal game.
Well, as we talked about, you just got the sense that the Riverhawks were going to put something together, because they really have done a much nicer job in this second half of trying to generate some offense. And it was very difficult for Perez to defend on that play, because it was going to go right over top of her. She was just not in position for what was going to happen. It was a little frenetic there on the back line.
She tried to be aggressive, come out and snuff out the opportunity, but all Keogh had to do was just poke check it almost. Toe poke it, I guess is the better way of saying it.
And so, as you said, I mean, things have now drastically changed with just a 1-goal lead now for Montgomery College. And again, you just feel that the momentum has swung a bit. The way that the Riverhawks have come out in the second half, they've made some great second half adjustments. We've already talked about the offsides traps that they're doing. And then offensively, they're just generating some nice work through the midfield.
They're not trying to boot and go, which they were doing a little bit earlier on. They're now trying to settle it a little bit. And listen, the players are gassed. You can see it. The weather is taking it out of them, but they're staying within themselves. And Keogh that time, just with a spurt of energy, found the loose ball at about 15 yards out of the box, put a little toe on it to flick it over Perez, who had decided to come out of her box or off her line. Couldn't get a finger on it, and that is one of the slow motion goals as a goalie you see. You see it behind you, just slowly rolling to it, and you know you can't get there. Another opportunity, though, for Anne Arundel, as Bocanegra will run onto it.
Keogh's just doing a nice job right now for Anne Arundel, making smart decisions, generating some offense. She is so critical for them.
Yeah. She has had moments where clearly she has shown some stamina issues, but I think that's every single player on the field. This weather can just zap so much energy out of you because you're battling the elements as much as you're battling the game.
And when I was talking with Coach Victorio before the contest, she told me that Keo is really their coach out on the field. She's starting to get a lot more comfortable speaking up and in that leadership role, and that has been critical. She's one of the freshmen as well on the roster, but in the junior colleges, I mean, this is what you have to have freshmen be able to come in and make contributions, to be leaders, even though they're having to adapt to the physicality and the style of play at this level.
Montgomery with an opportunity here and snuffed out by Milan, but coming back and kicked out of bounds as Anne Arundel's defense was a little on the back foot that time, and not the best job by Valerian to kick it and clear it out on the previous attempt, and Montgomery nearly got back up by 2 there off an unsettled situation. Fernandez, who's still in the game and now needs to be, with only a 1-goal lead, can't control that one, but it will remain a Montgomery throw-in. As Montgomery, who's not as aggressive on the offensive end as they have been, Monica, needs to maybe to get the momentum back here quick.
Well, again, I think their offense was the best defense in the first 15
Agreed.
minutes of the game or so, and so if they could do that again, that would serve them very well. But they have not been able to do that because, again, Anne Arundel has been playing much better in this second half.
Nice bring down by Hirabashi. Goes for the long shot. She's got 2 goals on the day. That one actually went in the goal that's sitting 20 yards behind.
Well, she's certainly been feeling it offensively today, looking for her hat trick.
Yeah. Hirabashi, who came into the game having played in just 7 and started 5 with 4 goals and 2 assists, has 2 goals today as Valerian's goal kick doesn't go very far. Stagnita, the backup goalie, ends up having to kick it out of bounds. That's the one thing I would say about Valerian, as good as she is, 1.4 goal against average. This coming into it only allowed 18 goals. Doesn't have the best goal kick, and I can say that as a former goalie who didn't have his best goal kick either. To be honest, we had to use the defense to get it out of the box. Sometimes you just can't master it all. Keo trying to get it out. Finally, a flip kick, and just cannot hold on to it. Anne Arundel a little bit off sync here in the last couple of minutes as the pressure from Montgomery has been ratcheted up.
They've certainly responded after that goal was scored, realizing that, again, the game has changed considerably. They've upped it to another level. I mean, Dave, you said it earlier that the players just seem to be playing a little fatigued out on the field.
Stevenson with a through ball. I'll give you a guess who cleared that one. Prokop comes over and cleans up the mess.
Quite a collision with Horan there. But Prokop is just so strong, battling everywhere.
Keo into the middle of the field. 2 defenders on her. It squirts to the far side. That is, I believe, McArdle with it. Correction, that is Sirach, and she gets taken down. No whistle. And out of bounds will be an Anne Arundel throw-in. So just as quick as we were seeing Montgomery on the offensive foot, now it's Anne Arundel with it. As Milan has it, and it gets kicked out of bounds. Another throw-in for Anne Arundel. 23:45 left to go in the second half. It is a 2-1 lead for Montgomery. They are holding on to it right now. The cross, it's a little up in the air. Header from Horan. Bocanegra is going to have to come back for it.
It was a nice ball. It was a great job by Horan to get ahead on it. And again, you just feel like the momentum has swung. Anne Arundel really able to put together.
That defensive line is starting to show cracks again, but a nice job by Hirabashi to clear it. She lists as a defender, but really she's playing midfield. And Milan comes all the way back. Beasley and Schulte trying to hold the line as that's the other thing I'm seeing too, Monica, is it's Beasley and Schulte in the back. They're sending the defensive wingers up a little bit when it goes into the offensive end. The problem though is on the counter from Montgomery here, you only had two defenders back.
Well, another thing that Anne Arundel has been able to do so far in the second half is really make Fernandez a non-factor.
Yeah.
And that has been a storyline as well.
Godoy is going to get the chance. Drives this one. And Valerian lets it come into her chest before collecting it. And she will give it a punt with the wind at her back. Godoy will play it with her foot. Back up to Rodriguez. Flick on for Fernandez. She's released. Valerian comes out and clears it.
That was a great play by Valerian.
Yes.
She had to be smart on that decision. She could not mishit the ball, and she had to just make a quick decision and go with it, and that's exactly what she did.
Measured her time, measured her spot, and got the kick just right to keep Fernandez from running onto that one and getting an opportunity. Kicked
And
it,
it's
unfortunately, behind.
plays like that the goalkeepers don't get the credit for.
No.
It doesn't show up in the score box, but that was a huge play right there for Deanna Valerian.
It's a save that doesn't get recorded as one. 21:45 left to go. Stevenson not on the same page that time with Haran. Haran was expecting it towards the middle. Stevenson played it down, and Perez plays a little bit of gamesmanship and roulette with Haran there. 21:26 left to go, and Perez will put a foot into it. It's going to bounce. Nope, it's going to be headed at midfield. Down to Keogh's foot. Nice turn with Keogh. Hirabashi comes out of nowhere and takes it away from Keogh. Up ahead. Beasley snuffs out the opportunity. Go back to the point right before the goal. I mentioned that Denison Cabral was here. If you're a local watching this game, Denison Cabral, one of the keys and the cogs of the Baltimore Blast indoor soccer team's championship success. He's on hand today. He's now an assistant coach of the Harrisburg Heat in the indoor league, taking in this day. I think he likes the indoor game better because there's never rain to deal with.
I think today I like the indoor game better too.
Yeah, I'm totally a fan of the indoor game right now. He is on hand. Fiance is one of the assistant coaches on the Anne Arundel squad. Big boot from Godoy. That could be dangerous, but well played by Valerian. You notice she stayed back. Any other time, goalie would have stepped up on that one, but she knew it was going to skip and be awkward, and so she stayed back and let that one
Again, it was another smart decision by Valerian because you're exactly right. If she'd gotten a little out in front of it, it could have bounced behind her.
Yep.
And so Valerian has made a couple of very smart decisions in the last few minutes that are helping keep her team in this contest right now.
Simpson just kicks it out of bounds. Keogh nearly sprung Stevenson on that one. Plays it back to Milan, plays it through. Awkward play, and Perez wisely stands her ground. I think that one got deflected and came back to Perez on her left, and she was expecting it to go right as the wind has seemingly switched directions a little and is kicked up a little bit more. It's now kind of coming straight across the field from your camera's point of view, straight on to you. It's no longer coming from the right.
But I think these teams are both kind of gambling with the idea that given the weather, how slick the field is, that they're going to just send these shots into the goalkeepers and hope that one of them mishandles it, which is not necessarily a bad strategy.
That's the best strategy is to look at it two ways. As a goalie, you're always aware that the ball's going to skip, and as an offensive player, you're always told, pepper the goal on a rainy day.
Exactly. So I think what both of these two teams are doing right now is a good strategy.
Yep. Make the goalies have to make a decision in bad weather, or even not even that, but make them react to something that happens that doesn't happen normally on a slick turf. The one thing turf can't do that's similar to grass is take away the effects of rain. If anything, it makes the ball slippier on the grass.
Well, and again, it makes it a lot faster. So when you're a goalkeeper, as you said, I mean, you really have to make smart decisions. You have to keep your body in front of the ball.
Ooh, Keogh taken out from behind by Godoy. Official says nothing of it. Godoy drove his shoulder right into Keogh in the back. Turnabout's fair play because, well, maybe not. Fernandez took out Bocanegra. The ball is free. Valerian way out of her box and bounces it off of Rodriguez's knee out of bounds. She got lucky on that one. But she had to do something, I think, because her defense was so far upfield. Bocanegra tries to get cute with it, and it goes out of bounds, and it will belong to Montgomery. As a goalie, trust me, as you're running out on that, you've got voices screaming at you in the back of your head. What are you doing? And you know you got to get it cleared. She's done a very good job on 2 or 3 occasions this half.
I agree. I think that Deanna Valerian deserves a lot of credit in the second half. She's made some good decisions. She's made some gutsy calls, and she has been spot on.
First half didn't start so well for her. The defense allowing 2 goals in the first 15 minutes. The first one almost felt like the defense got caught with Fernandez having taken a tumble off of a shot, watching the ball bounce away, and then Hirabashi blasting it from outside the box into the upper 90. Second one on a direct kick, Hirabashi getting a flick on. It looked like Valerian expected it to go one way, and it went another. That was the first 15 minutes. Since then, Anne Arundel's been a different team, and Montgomery has had fleeting moments like this. Godoy setting up for a direct kick. Can't get him much into it. Keogh clears it at the top of the box. Big gap in the field there. Keogh gets it. Stevenson turns to find 4 defenders. She's going to have to wait for his support. Here it comes. Tries to play up the middle. Just a little too far as Perez waits for it to come in the box. And a little shoving match between Prokop and Haran, and we're going to get a card on somebody. Haran didn't like the fact that Prokop was blocking her. I think it might go against Prokop. Well, no. He's going to have a conversation. Here's what I see. Haran's being blocked by Prokop. Maybe not sporting like. Haran finally doesn't like it and shoves Prokop. Does that go both ways? Does it go against Prokop? Does it go against Haran?
Well, with the officials talking it over, we'll see. We could get 2 cards. Who knows? Definitely getting one.
No, it's going to go against Haran, and she will go off the field there with the yellow card. That's, by the way, one of those junior college things. You get a yellow, you take a seat. And so Haran will actually physically take a seat. She's going to be replaced here by Randall Graham for the first time entering today's game, though this is her 13th game of the season. She has a goal on 11 shots. Basically, Haran got it for the reaction, basically. And we saw it earlier on the yellow card on Montgomery's Godoy. She had to set out, but she didn't get subbed for. Montgomery with an opportunity with a man down, or no, it's even situation, I apologize, as Randall is in, Randall Graham. Randall Graham with the bright yellow shoes, easy to spot, and she gets tripped up. It's got to be hard, though. She's coming off the bench cold. There was no warning. They didn't look like anybody was playing a sub this second half, did it?
Well, again, we've talked about that. These players just have left everything out on the field. It's a miserable day to be playing. We know that they're exhausted, but there's so much on the line. You have to give them so much credit because particularly Anne Arundel just came out in the second half all fired up, realizing what was on the line.
Yeah.
And now with Montgomery College, I think that they've responded very well when the tenor changed. Wow.
Took a shot on the goal there, and it was a nice idea, just leaked out of bounds. I was wondering how the wind was going to play into that one, as Haran's getting ready to come back in. Unlimited substitutions in junior college level. 15:23 left to go in this game, and Montgomery, for lack of a better description, is holding on right now. Prokop's going to clear it off the goal kick. She'll drive it to the near side here. Bocanegra gets a foot on it. Stevenson will set her. Tries to go back to Bocanegra. Stevenson will hold on. Bocanegra with an unintended screen. Back to Bocanegra. Bocanegra will shoot from the top, but it's blocked by Prokop all the way at the shot. Keogh with an inadvertent handball will get called for it and will give Montgomery the chance to clear. That is a break from Montgomery. Less than 15 to play, clinging to a 1-goal lead.
Because, again, you just see the momentum that Anne Arundel is being able to build, but it's a little frustrating for them because they're putting together some opportunities, but then not really getting any shots at Delmy Perez.
Right. Prokop tried to get to Fernandez. It goes out of bounds, and they will whistle Haran back into the game as Randall Graham will now take a seat after her few minutes of spelling Haran off the yellow card. As the rain now starting to pound down. Not that it matters to these players. They're already soaked to the bone. A little more rain ain't going to do a darn bit of difference. In quickly. Now Godoy's with the ball. She's got some space. Wants to play it to Rodriguez. Nice dig-ill by Keogh. And they say it went off Godoy. She doesn't argue it. No. The official is holding on to where they're throwing. Tighter than I've seen any official in a long time. I thought she threw it in right about where it went out, and he said, no, back up one step. And the faucet's been turned off again. Light drizzle. Milan hits Rodriguez. Rodriguez is hobbled. Milan then gets the steal back. This game is physical.
Well, it certainly is, and you have to credit these players because we have seen so many of them come up hobbled, but with limited rosters, they know that they have to keep playing. So we've really seen some hearts of steel out there from some of these players who really just have been banged up today.
I don't know what the men's game is going to bring us. The one thing I've noticed between the men's and women's games at any level, women don't tend to flop. They don't tend to fall down. They don't tend to feint injury. They play through it a lot more. I love it a lot better. And these players are a testament of that today. There's been a lot of collisions that most guys would have flown through the air on. And these ladies are getting back on their feet and playing through it.
Well, I certainly agree with you. These athletes are so tough out here because, again, it has been suboptimal conditions.
Yep.
It has been a very physical game. There is a lot on the line. And a lot of these players are coming into this banged up. I mean, it's that juncture of the season, and you have limited rosters to begin with. But there's a lot of players out there playing with significant injuries already.
Players are also standing around a little bit, and that's just because they're gassed. This one, they're just trying to power it through the defensive line.
Stevenson is working so hard.
Oh, and
out
Stevenson
on the field.
throws an elbow. She's going to get a card. Stevenson lined up the defender and threw an elbow. Did she just get double yellowed? Or did both players got yellow cards?
I think Prokop got one as well.
Yep. So Stevenson came back at Prokop for whatever Prokop had done to her, and the official was watching the whole thing and yellow carded both of them. Prokop is angry on the sideline. Graham back into the game now to replace Stevenson. In the meantime, by the way, we should also point out that on the field is Hirabashi. We're going to get a drop ball here. And it looks like Arundel's just going to kick it back to the goalie. Dangerous in these conditions. Listen, that's usually a very sportsmanlike thing, but what would have happened if it had gone in is the question I always think. But back to that contact, Monica, that's one of those scenarios where we talked about the physicality, finally got enough of the players.
Well, and I think the officials right now are just trying to keep things in check as well.
Just threw an elbow, and she's going to go take a seat for the rest of the game. Wow. And Anna Arundel's going to be down a player with 11:54 to play. Holy cow.
There's an official's timeout on the field.
Things just went from physical to aggressive in a split second.
And I think emotions are just running really high right now. I mean, I don't think that anything is necessarily intentional, but just there's so much on the line. These players want this game so badly, and it has been a physical match all day. So I think the emotions are getting a little bit the best of some of these players right now.
About a hand for the injured player.
Haran went up for the ball, raised her elbow argumentatively to protect herself, but threw it. Stevenson, on the other hand, went back to Prokop to explain with an elbow to the chest how she felt about the previous foul. That's why those two players both got cards. As Stevenson will re-enter the game. Prokop has also backed in. In the meantime, Haran, who had picked up a yellow earlier, is out now because she just picked up her second yellow. What's key about that is should the Riverhawks rally here and win, she's out the next game.
Number 22, Randall Graham.
Now Graham leaves.
Number 3,
but and of course,
because Stevenson
playing
came back in.
a man
now they're
down,
a man down, right?
Is also an issue for Anne Arundel at this point
now
as they're trying to get back into this contest.
Now at least they lost an offensive player, not a defensive player, but they need the offensive player to get the tying goal here. So things just changed on a dime, and I had mentioned earlier how these two teams don't really accumulate cards, but in the second half, we have gotten 3 yellows to make it a total of 4. 2 of them going to Haran, and she has now taken a seat. For the rest of this game and the rest of the season, if they can't get out of this game or if they can't get out of the semifinals. 11:35 to play. Haran's elbow, again, really high as she came in on the ball. And you're right, it's just frustrations. It's not malicious intent. I think it's strictly just get the game getting the best of both players and teams at this point. It is a physical, hard game. Stevenson will run onto this hopefully to save it from out of bounds. Well, she won't, but it's their throw-in anyway. The Riverhawks are down a player here. as Haran is on the bench with 11 minutes left with 2 yellow cards. Hoping for that to roll out of bounds. It will not. It will get kicked out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in. Stevenson will do the honors. And at some point, I'm wondering how soon till Valerian starts sneaking up to midfield, if not further. Nice back heel from Keogh to Stevenson. She's going to put her foot into it off the back of Hirabashi, who's come back defensively. That will go out of bounds for a corner kick. And that is huge because it's going to be the right foot of Milan who can place it in the box even from the other side.
Well, she has been absolutely sensational on set.
Oh, it's going to be Bocanegra,
who we have not seen, but of course it was Haran who was taking the corner kicks for Anne Arundel. So now that she's out of the contest, it looks like Bocanegra will be the one who is taking these.
Perez in an odd spot again, but she's going to come out for it. She does, misplays it, goes out of bounds for another corner. Perez is convinced that she's got to be field side of the offensive player for the Riverhawks. Now she goes back to her goal line. If I was the offensive player, I'd just start marching out towards the 18 and bring her with me. But she has smartly gotten away from that player. Now it's Milan. She'll drive it in. Off a knee. It's loose in the box. Holy cow. Ball still loose, will be poked out for a throw-in.
And just very lucky right there for Montgomery College. We've talked about some of these gaps in this back line.
Oh, Bocanegra thought Keogh was going to go around the defender. Miscommunication there. Might spring Rodriguez, though. Rodriguez moving upfield. And she gets taken out. Beasley cleans up the mess, as it were, and she will draw a card for her efforts.
Officials timeout.
And Rodriguez landed hard. Peralta, who had entered the game, was moving upfield with Rodriguez, but it was Beasley who decided to end the threat early.
A yellow card
and
has
picks
been
up a
issued
yellow.
to
Of course,
number
she will
21,
take a
Kayla
seat.
Beasley of the Riverhawks.
And into the
She'll be
game,
replaced by number 11, Alexis McCardle.
Cardle. It does not look like. Oh no, that is. Believe it or not, that is an 11.
And an extraordinary number of yellow cards, but
Yeah.
I think that the officials are actually doing a good job with
Yes.
it. They're really just trying to keep things safe
Beasley's
out on the field.
Godoy with a great ball up to Rodriguez, misplayed by Schulte, but luckily for her, not in a bad position. Hirabashi is playing more defense now. She is a defender, but she's been playing midfield forward much of this game, thus why 2 goals. She cleans it up from the defensive position. Bocanegra tries to play it up for Stevenson. Stevenson has to go around Carpenter, goes out of bounds as the rain is now pouring down with less than 9 minutes to play.
For the Raptors, number
And
18, Mia Topovich.
Topovich will come back into the game. Beasley will come back in after sitting from her yellow card as well. Another reason why you have unlimited substitutions in the junior college level. Just a note, by the way, clock does not stop unless there's a goal or the official says, or if the leading team takes a sub in the final 5 minutes of the second half. So keep an eye on that as well as we hit the 8:30 mark in a tight 2-1 game. Keogh pokes it out, and she's got a player on the far side. Srirac plays it back to Beasley, who tries to shoot, misses it, keeps it alive. Defense way into the offensive end now. It's Milan versus Godoy. Milan calls it off as Godoy beats her. Now up to Fernandez, who's trying to run on. Schulte closes the door, goes out of bounds, but it'll be a Montgomery throw-in. If anything, if you're Montgomery here, eat the clock.
Well, I think that's exactly right for Montgomery. They're just trying to hold on at this point. They would love to score another goal, but if they could just get some time of possession right now, that would do them a world of good. But it has been Anne Arundel that really has had time of possession. They have had the
holding.
opportunities.
Shot! Goal!
An
Hirabashi with a
unbelievable
hat trick!
That was one of the prettiest goals you will see in this weather. Hirabayashi has just felt it today. She has been the hero for Montgomery College.
Valerian is asking the official where the foul call is. I said hold because Hirabashi grabbed a hold of Schulte to keep her behind her and then unleashed a left knockout punch with her foot. Holy cow, Hirabashi with the hat trick. 2 of them coming unassisted on 2 similar blasts. The first and third goals, blasts from outside the box.
And you have to understand, she's only scored 4 goals this year.
Right.
She scored 3 goals today.
destroyed that shot as Perez playing a little game with Stevenson there, not only in waiting to pick it up late, but swinging the ball past Stevenson's face.
And again, everyone should be aware she is playing with that MCL injury. She is only, according to her head coach, at about 80%, and she has been absolutely phenomenal today. And now Godoy.
She's ripped it with both feet, too. That last one, and geez, Valerian goes down. She ripped that last one with her left. She ripped the first one with her right, and she got a header on the second one. She's done it with everything.
She has really proven herself to be a special player
and she's
today.
Defensive. Look, she's back defensively right now. She's basically listed as a defender. She's playing defensive midi, let's call it. Now she's rotating into the forward position. She's gassed, as most of the players out here are. Schulte can't keep it out of bounds or
when you
inbounds.
see her with that brace on that right knee.
As we get a substitution here with 6:28 left.
Number 3, Yosoris Peralta.
And Peralta will
replacing
return.
number 6, Lisi.
Hirabashi has put on a clinic in terms of shots on goal, and that's the second time that she's hit one where Valerian did not think it had a chance until she realized it. Nearly got another. This time Rodriguez. Valerian read that well and had the post covered that time.
But again, we talked about it. That's exactly what you need to be doing.
Put them on goal.
Montgomery College has not been doing that in this second half. Now all of a sudden they have a little renewed life in them because, as we talked about, their offense is their best defense. If they can just own time of possession right here, they can close out this contest. They do not want to give Anne Arundel many more good looks at goal because they have seen how dangerous the Riverhawks can be.
Let's remember, too, though, Riverhawks are playing a player down as Rodriguez is called, Fernandez, I should say, called for an offsides yet again. 5:26 left to go here. Riverhawks again, man down as Haran was called with a second yellow, the second one being an elbow to a defender on a high ball. And she is out, which has made it more difficult for Anne Arundel, who at the time was down 2-1. As we get a substitution just in time to not stop the clock. That's great tactics and a little bit of luck as we hit the 5-minute mark. Small Chance comes back in and gives Rodriguez a break. As Montgomery will throw it in. And honestly, if it's not for Hirabashi's heroics at the end here, this is a different ball game.
Well, but Dave, you also made the critical point. I mean, you have to – Anne Arundel is playing a man down.
Yeah.
It is very hard to do.
Yeah,
especially when you're
up.
trying to have a comeback here in the waning minutes of this contest. And Valerian.
It's going to have to come way out of her goal. She just kicks it up in the air. Godoy with a head on it. Hirabashi with a foot. And goes out of bounds. It'll be Montgomery ball with 4:16 left. And time is running out for the Riverhawks to pull off a second upset here to move on to the championship weekend. It looks like Montgomery's going to do it. Godoy taken out by Bocanegra inadvertently. It is a foul, but it's not malicious. And here's where you take a break, get a little bit of a breather, maybe get a cup of coffee. 3:53 left. At some point, the official thinks you're taking too long. He's either going to card you, and if you're Godoy, you can't afford a card, or he will stop the clock. Godoy's well, the problem here now is Anne Arundel's too close to the ball. So Godoy's playing the game of back up the wall. So Anne Arundel's killing the clock themselves. He's not stopping the clock, which he should when you're marching off, but that's Anne Arundel's fault, though, because they got too close to the ball. There are times where you need to play close. There are times where you just back off, and this was one of those times. They just gave Anne Arundel a minute worth of time to take off the clock.
That's another nice ball by Godoy.
Beautiful ball from Godoy. Handball inadvertent Milan. Fernandez, feeling pressure, decides to shoot left, and it missed.
Yeah, she just mishit it there.
She had a moment and realized that she could have settled that and walked in.
Returning for the Raptors, number 6.
And that will stop the clock with 3:11 left. So now substitutions as Fernandez, you called it earlier, but it took a while, will finally take a seat.
Well, again, at this point, I think they are thinking that they want to rest her. They certainly don't want to risk any further injury to Gabriela Fernandez. She was so instrumental in the first 15 minutes of this contest. We saw what an impact player she is, but today has been Galen Hirabayashi's day.
Yeah. Hirabayashi will pass it back to Prokop, who is the other hero of the day.
Absolutely. It's really hard to pick a player of the game between the two of them because obviously the 3 goals,
And
that was
certainly
huge.
Yeah, it leads you to that decision. But
Prokop really just held that defensive back line. She battled through a lot of adversity.
3 goals the other way.
So it's a tough decision, but I think if you have to pick, it's Hirabayashi, especially the heroics in this second half to get that insurance goal.
Valerian cleans it up. 2:20 left, and it looks like Montgomery is going to move on despite what will now become a 7-7-0 record. We'll move on to championship weekend. Again, injuries their season, but they are coming together at the right time. 3 goals here on the day with 2:05 left. It's going to take a miracle for a player down Anne Arundel squad to score 2 here, especially now. Oh, that's going to be offsides, and that was. It's going to take, Valerian's going to have to come out of her goal all the way up. They're going to have to get some kind of crazy routine of kicks in a minute 45 to pull this off. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just making sure we take note of it. Don't forget, men's game coming up at 1 o'clock on this same field. Howard versus Northern Virginia. There's a bit of a collision with Beasley, and they're going to call a foul there. With less than 90 seconds to go here, the Riverhawks season's going to come to an end despite the upset on Friday. Their home field won't be so friendly for Anne Arundel, and it really hasn't been, to be honest. They are 5-2-0 this season, but they were 1-5-0 last year on their home field. This season's going to come to an end here with 1:05 left to go.
But certainly, I think for Anne Arundel, I mean, the fact that they pulled off that upset on Friday, that was such a gutsy effort.
Yeah.
And then for today as well, the way they came out in this second half, you have to give them so much credit today, just not their day.
Yeah.
The game just didn't get started off on the right foot for them. They were a little tight in the early goings. And I do think that this Montgomery College team, even though they're still banged up, the fact that they have Gabriela Fernandez back has been huge for them.
Yep. 33 seconds left. Poke into the box. Perez will let that one go through for a goal kick, which will probably eat the rest of this clock. Perez's shoe is untied, and all good goalies have a good defender who'll come tie their shoes. It's hard to do it with gloves on. It really is hard. And it's too hard to take the gloves off. And that's why we are stopping the clock with 18.2 seconds left. Perez's shoe is untied. The Raptors will move on as a few more subs here go back and forth for Montgomery. But with 18.2 seconds left, this one is all but over. And the Raptors will have survived against the Riverhawks on a very wet, blustery, cool day to forgive the time of year. It's been nightmarish weather. Almost scary.
10 seconds remaining.
As we have 10 seconds left.
7, 6, 5.
Anne Arundel's trying to the very end, but it's not going to be. There's no 2-point goals in soccer. And the Raptors of Montgomery Community will move on to the national championship weekend with a 7-7 record. They beat Anne Arundel 3-1 on Anne Arundel's home field. And hats off to Larian, who is clearly upset. Her teammate Keogh coming down to congratulate her and give her a hug. Anne Arundel got off on the wrong foot in the first 15 minutes, gave up 2 goals. They turned on the pressure after that, got it to 2-1 midway through the second half. But then the emotions of the game got the best of them, and Hirabayashi showed off her skill set, blasted a third one home to end this one. And Monica, while it wasn't the prettiest of games, and we can probably blame the weather for a lot of that, and players returning from injury as well, it certainly was. There were a few players who really put on the show today.
Well, absolutely, and we've talked about them. I mean, I think our player of the game has to be Galen Hirabayashi. She had the 3 goals today, the hat trick. It was a sensational performance out of a player who's battling through injury. She was absolutely outstanding. And then Maggie Prokop on defense for Montgomery College really kept that back line in check. She had so many clears that were just spot on. She made very few mistakes, and she was critical for them, but for Anne Arundel as well. I mean, I think you have to talk about Valerian. She made some critical plays in the second half. You can't take anything away from her in terms of her decision making. She's an outstanding goalkeeper. Today she just had some get by her, but I think a credit to her and what she's been able to do this season. And then we've talked about Milan as well. I thought she was outstanding for Anne Arundel. So, but congratulations to both of these two teams on great seasons.
Yeah, hard fought for these two. They had to earn it to get to this game in the first place. Montgomery has earned their way onto the championship weekend. Of course, that will be up in Dryden, New York, in the Cortland area for the NJCAA championship weekend. Find out who their opponent is if you go to the NJCAA website. Obviously, that's all being determined. For Anne Arundel, the season comes to a close at 9-5-1, turning around a campaign of 6-10-0 last season. You got to give it to the Riverhawks, who certainly fought well to this point. So Anne Arundel's season will come to an end. Montgomery's season will move on to the championship weekend. There is post-game trophies to be handed out. We will leave it here and leave a microphone open for that. Monica and I will take a break. Coming up at 1 o'clock Eastern time, we have the men's game, which is in about an hour away. It will be the number 1 versus number 2 seeds. Number 1, Northern Virginia Community versus Howard, in what should be a tremendous battle on a very weather-soaked field. For Monica Moore, I am Dave McHugh. For our production team, we thank you for tuning in to this broadcast of the District 20 Region 8 Championship Women's Soccer. Montgomery Raptors defeat the Anne Arundel Riverhawks 3-1. It's off to the national championships for the Montgomery squad as Anne Arundel's season comes to a close on their home field. We'll be back at 1 o'clock for the men's game. Enjoy the post-game celebrations in the meantime, and hope you enjoyed this broadcast.
Fans, first up in our post-game ceremony will be the introduction of our all-tournament team. Beginning with Oxford College of Emory University, Tajan Singh and Nadia Dixon. Next up from Howard Community College, Savannah Hill and Brittany Wortman. From Anne Arundel, Madeline Stevenson, Gabrielle Keogh, Kayla Beasley, and from Montgomery, Gabriela Fernandez, Maggie Pocock, Yasmin Argubi, Galen Hirabayashi. Fans, we would like to offer congratulations to the Region 20 and District H runner-up, Anne Arundel Community College. Congratulations to Coach Victorio, her staff, and the Riverhawks on an outstanding season. We would like next to offer our congratulations to the Region 20 and District H champions, the Montgomery College Raptors. Good luck to Montgomery College as they earn a berth to the Division III National Championship, November 9th through 12th, hosted by Tompkins Cortland Community College. Once again, congratulations to Montgomery College Raptors. Fans, we thank you for your support this morning and for braving the elements in support of our student athletes.